Now, that was Solomon's conclusion about time and life. So what I'm going to do now is, let's examine this in the light of biblical revelation in the New Testament. Is that true or not? Now, let me begin by talking to you about 3 approaches to time. There are 3 ways in which people look at time. Okay, number 1 is a humanistic approach. You can look at life or time from a humanistic approach. And in this case, man is the master of his own time. Okay, he's the master of time. If you take a humanistic approach to life, man determines the times and seasons of his own life. Okay, man is in charge. He's the one who determines the list of 28 activities that are seen in Ecclesiastes chapter 3. You see, if you notice that if you count up all the time to this, the time to that, there are altogether 28 of them. 28 activities. Okay, but do we really control all of time? Not really, right? Are we really in control of everything that happens? Not really. For example, can you decide today that you'll be happy next week? Not really. Can you know with certainty that we'll be dancing and laughing tomorrow? Not really. See, the problem of the humanistic approach is that man is not in control of all the situations of life. See, we're not in control. Just by sheer life and death alone, we're not in control. We don't determine the day we are born, neither will we determine the day we die. Man lives in the midst of an uncertain world. That's why the book of James chapter 4 verse 13 to 15 says this. Why don't we all read this and declare this together? Now listen, you who say today or tomorrow we will go to this or that city, spend a year there, carry on business and make money. Why, you do not even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. That's the New Testament view. That's very true, isn't it? We all like to think that we are in control. But in reality, we are not. We are not in control of everything. In fact, you listen to what the rest of James says in verse 15. He says, instead, you ought to say this, if it is God's will, we will live and do this or that. What does it say here? It is not our will. It is God's will that determines things. We are not the captain of our own soul. We are not the masters of our own fate. Man cannot and does not control the circumstances or the circumstances of our life. In other words, we are not a totally sovereign being. Okay? We are subjected to the uncertainties of life. So that's the first thing, okay? The humanistic approach. Okay? That's another way to look at life, fatalistic approach. Now, this is the view that basically Solomon takes. Her fatalistic view to time, okay? In other words, he's saying, life is all fated. We had no choice at all. And he listed 28 activities as examples. He's saying to us that God is the sovereign one up there, above the sun. He's the one pulling the strings. He sets the time. He's the one who calls the shots. Everything has been mapped out for us. But where we are heading and what is the purpose, God didn't tell us. You understand what he's saying here? That's why he says in verse 11, why don't we read this? He has made everything beautiful in His time. He has also set eternity in the hearts of men. Yet they cannot fathom what God has done from beginning to end. See, Solomon recognized that man has eternity in his heart. Solomon understands that man has a sense of eternal destiny. God is the one who puts it there. But God didn't tell us what it is. Therefore, he says the best thing man can do under the circumstances, just eat, drink, and try to enjoy life. That's the best thing he can tell us. Just try to enjoy whatever it is. Because whatever happens, you are not at fault. We are not responsible. God is the one who determines everything. The Muslim would say, Allah Harim, which means God has planned it all. So when something terrible happens, they say, Allah Harim. God has planned it all. The Hindu would say, accept your karma. Can't help it. That's your fate. The good news translation of this passage in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, instead of saying a time to this, a time to that, he used the term the time to this, the time to this, the time to that, which emphasizes the point that Solomon is trying to bring up, that God is the one who sets the specific time for everything. See, that's the emphasis that Solomon had. Man really has no control in the whole thing. Everything is fated, everything is predestined. So that's the second approach to time, okay? Fatalistic approach.